I'm very happy today to introduce a wonderful panel here that's going to talk about careers in clean energy, and we have representatives here from all different areas within this field, not just engineering, but we do have engineering, research, policy, and even on the business side.
I am here as the chair of the workforce group at the New England Clean Energy Council. The Clean Energy Council is a membership organization of clean energy companies all over New England. We have about 300 member companies, including some of the people who are here on this panel today. The Clean Energy Council does a lot of things, but probably the most important thing that it does related to workforce that you might want to know about is we partner together with the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. The internship program, now entering its third year, places people in internships at companies throughout Massachusetts in the clean energy industry. There were 77 companies that participated this past summer. We expect it will go over 100 soon. Each one of the internships pays a stipend of $5,000. It's extremely competitive. And last year, Northeastern was tied with UMass Amherst for the most students in the program than any other college. So many other things about the council I can tell you, but it's easier for you to go onto our website. We're at cleanenergycouncil.org.
Sure. So Ener Noc, when it started at its core, was a demand response company. How many people know demand response, the term? Okay, it's reducing energy consumption on the grid in responding to demand signals. So it's pretty much the process of maybe turning off half the lights in this room in order to not have to turn on a generator somewhere else. And you know, the core business as a whole is to offer up enough energy that you are the equivalent of an energy as a generator, but doing it in such a way that you're doing it in a clean way by taking energy off the grid. The net result is the same. From that core demand response, which is still the core of our business and kind of the most complex piece of our business, we've grown into a full-fledged energy efficiency company. So we're there to help our customers become long-term efficient in their energy use through energy audits, partnering with clean energy, just about any way, analytics, whatever it is, to go into facilities, whether it's as small as a grocery store, as large as a large manufacturing facility, and show them where they're being inefficient, and do that very aggressively, and fighting the old models of doing these things kind of once a year, twice a year, and instead doing it all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So as soon as something is not correct in a facility, we can let them know, we can make a correction, and we can prevent something that could be horribly inefficient for a very long period of time.
Brightfields Development, we are solar farm developers. Very simple and straightforward. We build renewable energy plants where we are a little different than most of the folks in the industry. All of our plants are designed to be on either contaminated or post-contaminated sites, brownfields as they're known in the business. And we direct all of our generation from those back into the grid or into local off-takers. We're doing it currently in Massachusetts, here in Illinois, in Puerto Rico, hopefully crossing our fingers in Connecticut and Maryland. And so we've really looked kind of the East Coast and all the way down to the Caribbean as our primary marketplace.
Our job right now is to translate ideas both at a fundamental level, so we can advance the science, but also whatever comes out of the fundamental level to a more practical standpoint. And in there, we are heavily involved in fuel cells and batteries. We as a humanity, as a collective group of people, have this tremendous opportunity to change our habits and change the way we look at energy. And NUCRET is very much into that mix. So we started off with batteries and fuel cells. Right now we are looking at a whole bunch of other ideas, things like what processes, for example, use a lot of electricity. So we want to replace the clunkers, so-called gas guzzlers, so-called internal combustion engines with complete electric propulsion. And that dream is still alive and well. There is a huge opportunity, and as students, you'll have to go out and participating in all of these activities. And NUCRET should be able to help in at least some parts of it, more on the technical side. But if we liaison better with, say, the Clean Energy Council, maybe on the policy side as well.
So HEAT is your on-campus environmental club. We've had a couple of different environmental clubs in the past year. HEAT is the remaining environmental club. So we focus on a lot of different campaigns right at this moment. We are doing everything from maintaining the university's garden to helping out with the university's renewable energy initiative funds to organizing on-campus events. Speaking of which, great way to get engaged in HEAT and find out what we're doing. We have Aaron Brockovich coming to campus tonight, you guys. We'll be in Blackman Auditorium. Yeah, so make sure you go on your MyNEU and get tickets for that. Next week, we have we're working with the university to bring Bill McKibben to come and speak on campus. So two real great events that we're working on organizing. Right now, one of our main campaign pushes, though, is the bringing back the University Sustainability Council. As many of you might know, it was somewhat disbanded during this past summer and hasn't been meeting or working regularly like it should be. Our university signed on to multiple climate change initiatives as a university body, and part of those sign-ons were to maintain this body. So as HEAT, we're working very, very hard to reorganize and build a sustainability council here on campus that will actually have some accreditation and be able to promote the university, not just here in Boston, but also as the national leader that we're trying to be.
So each individual company chose people for their own reasons. There's not a single sort of criteria. The way that the system works is you fill out an application online at cleanenergyeducation.org. So it's cleanenergyeducation.org. And then companies go in and sort based on their own needs. So they might put mechanical engineering, they might put finance, they might put senior level undergraduate, and they sort on the basis of their own needs. The best thing you can do is look at the list of the companies that participated last year and then go into their individual websites and find the companies who really turn you on because of their technology, because of what they're trying to do in the world, and of course because of their success and their job growth.
So, it goes back to the founders of our company, Tim and David, Tim Healy and David Brewster. They started the first 100 of us hiring, looking for people who really wanted to make a difference, wanted to be really passionate. And then those 100 people started hiring the next round of people, and we keep that going. We are looking for people who really want to be at Ener Noc, not just to have a job, but because we do feel like we're making a difference. We are passionate about energy and energy efficiency, and that can be shown by things you do. Even while you're in school, you can come out of school and still be an interesting candidate by, the groups that you participate in, the things that you've done, the co-ops that you've taken, or just stories that you can tell, right? I mean, if you get an interview or you get some time in front of someone, and you can say, you know what, this is why I'm passionate about energy. Know who, and I'll go on a little bit further, know who you're going to talk to. If you're coming to an Ener Noc, know something about demand response. If it really interests you, show it. Because it's going to really pique our interest that you really want to be there. Even if your skills may not be completely right, it's going to show that you want to work, you're going to work hard, and maybe, you start with a certain skill set, it's not quite right. There's so much movement in our company, there's so many opportunities in our company, something else could open up and you can find the perfect job.
We have a parent company that I'm also managing principal of with my partner called Renova Partners, and it's an environmental remediation company. And our goal was founded back in 2001, and we kind of ran around the country cleaning up contaminated sites. Great business, lots and lots of fun, and something, again, I think like Jake, where you wake up in the morning and can feel very, very good about what you're doing. Our primary goal was to take contaminated soil and water and get it clean, and get it available for reuse. Being able to re-energize these properties that have been sitting dormant for years and have had some pretty awful things happen to them. The primary goal in the reuse was real estate, residential, commercial, getting things built on those properties. In 2008, when the wheels kind of came off the bus for the U.S. Financial industry, obviously we were a casualty of that type of business, and we saw our business decline precipitously. So we tried to say, okay, what is it that we can do? We have a lot of contaminated land that we currently own and care for, and we've got a lot of big partners, Alcoa, Monsanto, Union Pacific Railroad, who want to see something good happen with their properties. What can we do? And we were introduced to renewable energy back in 2008. In 2009, we decided to form our own company. That's kind of exploded by itself.
You know, there are two or three great models in this country which U.S. students should actually investigate. One is the Stanford model. That is absolutely phenomenal. Whenever I go to Berkeley and Stanford and I look at these kids who come out, they don't come out with a resume, they come out with a business plan. And that is just absolutely amazing. They have these groups of kids who are all over that place talking to venture capitalists, and it's a symbiotic relationship which I'm just absolutely fascinated. And the other one is all those clubs we have in MIT, Harvard area, where periodically they come up with a Facebook or some such idea, and it just flies off and becomes $1 billion or multi-billion-dollar company. I think in Northeastern, if we inculcate some of those similar models at the undergraduate level, I think we will have a much better shot at doing better.
I think not just I think being involved in heat is definitely something that helps, but just being aware and active as a young student and having something outside of just a strictly academic resume plays a huge advantage. Here at Northeastern, we have the benefit of the co-op program, so a lot of students have some job experience, which also adds to your resume. But having also shown that you've taken initiative outside of our co-op program and outside of your academic curriculum to be engaged and an involved student in either clean energy or sustainability initiatives really goes a long way with employers, I find.
From our standpoint, we get a lot of resumes in. The people who we look for are people who've shown that they're ready to do something with their lives, and that they're ready to have, again, whether it's having fun, getting out. We're looking for people who are passionate. I think it's a common theme, especially if you're on our side of the world. We have a very hard job being advocates of the future and trying to make a change. We're always trying to push policy. We're always trying to get people to do things they don't want to do, things that we think are better for all of us, but most of the time, exactly as the doctor said, people are stuck kind of in what they've been doing. Status quo is always better for much of the population than trying to try something new and take a risk. So we want to see you taking risks. We want to see you being an advocate for yourself, an advocate for your community, and a place like Heat for us is fantastic. And I think Julie.
Yeah, just say whether it's something like Heath or your co-op, care enough to learn something, right? So you may get the worst co-op in the world. It happens. You go there and they're having you get coffee every day, whatever it is. Put it on yourself to learn something. Force yourself into a position where you're going to learn something while you're there, or care enough. It may not be the most exciting thing in the world, but really get into it, figure out what it is, and be able, you're going to move on from that co-op. It may be a job opportunity later, but you may move on and you look for other things. Be able to talk about it intelligently, show that outside of a classroom you've decided to learn something about what you were doing.
So our systems are very specific. We build to sell into the grid. We have one opportunity right now in the Caribbean where we're looking actually to sell behind the meter. And actually, I take that back. Our system in Situate, Mass. is actually going on top of the town's dump, and we're actually selling all of the power to the town. The town of Situate, which will, I think, be one of the first all-green cities in the United States, and I know Caitlin's especially informed on that. So between us and the city's windmill I think 100% of the municipal load is actually being served by renewable energy, which is really cool. But that's actually the exception to the rule for us. Most of the time, we're selling back into the utility at the grid level. We might sell sometimes to an alternative retail energy supplier, like a Constellation or a Hess. But I would say 90% of the time we're doing a contract with the utility, where it becomes really difficult for us and where we spend a lot of our time advocating on behalf of renewable energy is all the rest of the stuff. Selling electricity, electrons, whether they're produced by us or produced by a coal plant, they're really being paid for in pretty much the same way. We have to go out and make the case as to why renewable energy is worth a little bit more because we are more expensive on a straight-up cost standpoint. Probably the coolest thing that's happening in our industry, and this is what I think is going to really change, and if you look at how the status quo is going to move, it's not going to move because utilities are altruistically minded or that they are looking for a better future. That's not usually in their scope. What they're realizing is this is an important thing for their consumer, and it's something which, whether they are becoming indifferent, and especially as our cost is getting down closer and closer to grid parity with a coal or a nuke plant. What they're saying is this is just another generating asset for us. If you think about where should you get jobs in renewable energy, one of the places that I would push very heavily to anybody is interview with utilities. We know that they're the dark side. We know that they're the evil other guys, but I'm telling you that they are going to be the two largest generators of renewable energy that are going to happen over the next 5 years, and I don't know what the rest of the guys think, is going to be the United States government through the Department of Defense. Every plant and operation that the government is currently running has been mandated 20% renewable. That's a huge change for us, and it's just starting to ripple through. It's stuck in awful, horrible government land, but it will finally come out. It may take us a little while. But the Department of Defense is for real. Folks look at it hard. I mean, it's a real opportunity, and it's cutting-edge kind of stuff, and it's places where people are given a lot of responsibility at a very, very early stage in that game. Second one is working with utilities. We know that they're tough organizations, but those guys are in many shapes. So far, PSE&G in New Jersey, Duke Power, the Southern companies, National Grid here in the state, Florida Power and Light through their NextEra group, is all those utilities have jumped onto renewables as just another form of income for them. And those are great places to look as well, because those things are going to move quickly. And I think as the speed of adoption is picking up, you'll see more and more of those utilities across the country kind of jumping on top of it.
I started with the company when there was 3 people, and then the next 100 people were sales guys.
Wow.
So, I mean, we have such a strong sales division of our company. And you mentioned Australia. We opened an Australian market. The first thing we do is hire a full-fledged sales group to go out there. And it's people, again, who aren't just good at sales, but also are knowledgeable of energy and clean energy and about the market and have some experience there. So it's, for us, there's a huge portion of that.
Kevin, you
I
have a
think
comment? Yes.
one of the things that the Clean Energy Council did together with the Clean Energy Center, we have the same acronym, so we get confused a lot, is we produced this report about where the jobs are in Massachusetts in clean energy. There are some 5,000 clean energy firms in Massachusetts employing something like 70,000 clean energy workers. You can read about this at masscec.com. One of the reasons you probably don't see their jobs is because a lot of them are never advertised. Or if they are advertised, they're advertised just on a rolling basis. We need salespeople. So it doesn't come up as an individual job with we need someone today, it's going to go off, 3 weeks from now, please apply. Instead, it's talent spotting. And it's just a constant desire to get people who, as you rightly said, know how to sell. You've got to be able to deliver the goods. You've got to be able to sell and have that produce results. And you have to have an interest in the product. You have to be able to show right away that you have an interest in this as opposed to something else. So I would say, if you're interested in fuel cells, if you're interested in solar, if you're interested in demand response, or any of the fields in clean energy, pick a few companies, go meet the people, and my guess is they're looking for talent right now.
Thank you.
So you would suggest creating a list, a target list of companies, and then sort of going after the ones that do what you're interested in?
Right. And if you want to see such a list, you can find one on the council's website.
Awesome.
A little background in the hiring aspect of things, like if you were to go to, say, I'll use mine because I know it, and submit a resume for a particular job with a cover letter that more explained what you were looking to do, someone's going to read that, right? Again, it may not match, but someone will put their eyes on that to make sure that you actually, there's something there. And if you explicitly say, hey, I'm more interested in sales, but I have this background, whatever, again, the likelihood that it might get to someone is high. And the other thing is, sales is, we call it business development, right? So know the keywords you're looking for. It's not sales, it's business development. I'm not sure why, I'm an engineer, I don't pay attention to that.
But that's the lingo for your industry, and
yeah.
it's really important that you know that. So it's a great little tidbit to take away.